Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another edition of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. We took a little break, but we're back. And we're back talking about Hakeem Robinson, a.k.a. KSOO. Now, KSOO is in jail. He's in jail with his daddy because the two of them decided to go kill some people, or at least they're alleged to have killed some people. Now, if you might remember our Who I Smoke and the beef between Ace and Fulio, Who I Smoke is about, smoking Bibby and, some of these other guys. Well, Bibby was supposedly killed by Mr. Robinson, a.k.a. KSOO. Now, KSOO is sitting in jail awaiting his trial. His lawyer, now let me tell you something about Florida. Florida is a little bit different than a lot of the other states. In Florida, you have the right to depose witnesses. In other words, you can take a deposition of the cop. Now, what is a deposition? A deposition is where you sit in a conference room. There's no judge, but there is a court reporter, and you basically do discovery that way. So you talk to, under oath, the officers under oath. So by the time you get to trial, you know exactly what they're going to testify to. Most states don't have that rule, but Florida does. And it probably settles a lot of cases, because if you know exactly what that cop is going to say before he says it, on the stand, that is, you have a better handle on how your success or failure at trial is going to be. Now, why are we even bringing this up? Well, this is the ultimate in self-snitching. So today we are going to react to KSOO's Been Dead, his music video. And in there he talks, according to some of the reports, about the murders that he committed. He's accused of killing 2 people. But like I said, I'm not endorsing murder. I'm not endorsing what these guys are doing. And when I reacted to Who I Smoke, I had no clue, and I'll freely admit that I had no clue as to much about that beef. But I'm a little more educated now on the subject, and I just wish it would stop, honestly. I read a book one time by Jerry Spence. Jerry Spence is a very famous criminal defense lawyer, and it's How to Win Every Argument. And sometimes you can win the battle by backing off. You win the war, so to speak. You don't have to fight about every little thing. I know some lawyers that fight about every tiny little thing become ineffective. And they become ineffective because they lose so many of the little shit that doesn't matter that their arguments lose weight. I wish these guys would take a lesson out of that book and just say, let's back off. Maybe we could win the peace. Maybe we could win a bigger picture than Who I Smoke and smoking this person, that person. It is entertaining, but this isn't like a mob movie. This is real life, and young men are dying. And so anyway, without further ado, let's see what's going on with Mr. KSOO and Been Dead. So without further ado, here's KSOO, Been Dead. Now this is a reenactment, and if you can see, he's got a medallion that says ATK on it. That's Ace's Top Killers, and they use that in a warrant. So when you are sitting there, and you've got the medallion, Ace's Top Killers, it doesn't look good in court.
Man, I got this bitch right here. I ain't gonna cut it, but you gonna need this bitch. I want no face at. Right, cool.
So right there, if that's a prop gun, if it's a prop gun, but these guys don't use prop guns. So
bigger step of biggest host.
We start off him putting his cousin that he supposedly killed in the microwave, cold.
Come to think, call me Big Man. Chase shit, nigga. I post a been dead. All this money on my head, I post a been dead. All this money.
Now sounds okay. You know, escaped a little danger. It's where this is going that I worry.
I like to run up on his ass and he's straight red. They say I'm fucked up in the head, I need to take the meds. But I would.
All right, they say I'm fucked up. In the head, I need to take meds. That can be a defense. You can have a mental health defense, but not when you have the presence of mind to know what you're doing. And all this business about never being scared is actually a healthy thing. It helps you avoid danger. There's a reason that when you put your hand on a hot stove, you go like this. There's a reason that we have fear in us to avoid danger. And anybody says that they're not scared at certain times, bullshit. We are all scared at certain times. I'm with Crazy K, and he say he want everybody dead. And we find in Yo Ass Boy, You Better Not Play. Sounds like premeditated murder.
They'll shoot you in your face, and we'll put it back on your head and get you toe tagged.
We're gonna catch you broad day and shoot you in your face. We're gonna pull it back on your head and you get toe tagged. So planning a homicide and, you know, not being shy about it.
Daughter got that cash. So they killed me and went costly hot out with them canes. Me and Scotty bustin' back was on the same page. I was mad as fuck, I went up in a fucking rage.
I was mad as fuck. I went up in a fucking rage. Now, that gives state of mind, right? And it would support depraved mind murder, but and so would the med comment, to be honest with you. Depraved mind in some is like murder 3, and it's where you cause the death with a mindset that shows a complete indifference to human life. It's the depravity, and that's exactly what this is. And if I'm a judge and I see this video and I hear the allegations, I ain't letting this guy out. Are you kidding me? And that's self-snitching right there. I caught a fella lacking and at the store fucked up his face. That's absolutely self-snitching.
All this money on my head, I post a been dead, big bad head, post a been dead.
All that I need to see, he's got the money on his head. I kind of like that. It's got some poetry.
I love to start the car, let that bitch bang. Pussy niggas think we the up the scope gang. We shoot shit, we ruthless, grab the cake. But I ain't talking about them niggas that we shoot in.
I ain't talking about those fellas that we shoot in. Yeah, you are. You're talking about them right now.
Wait, I'm steady banging. I got them niggas ducking they tacos, they steady thinking. I'm steady swagging over they block, I ain't fucking blanking. It's couple.
And here's the thing. It is so brazen. It is so ultimately brazen. When you have this guy going before a judge and they can link this stuff up that he's talking about to actual events. That is the ultimate in self-snitching.
We done clapping, we don't fucking claim it. I'm like a pooper when I see him, you can't fucking tame me. I'm running up here in my targets like a killer in training. And blow me fucking all the options got.
And it'd be one thing if there wasn't anything surrounding this. What makes this really bad, and what makes it really bad for a court to review, is that I think I read there were in the last few years there have been over 50 unsolved homicides around these guys, and you've got somebody putting out this video who is so brazen and so callous and talks about pushing somebody's shit back like it's nothing. And then you've got the money and the microwave. A judge is just going to, and you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt on anything.
There's money on my head, I post a been dead. Big bad head, post a been dead. All this money on my head, I post a been dead. Real gangster nigga, I ain't no.
And then when he appears in court, it ain't the same person. And see, here's the other thing. They've got him in a cell, which flaunts. It's just flaunting and kind of a callous disregard for the law. And now I'm not judging him personally, but I'm telling you how it looks to a court of law when you do this stuff. So that was Been Dead by KSOO. Now let's take a look at what happened in court. So what we're going to do now is so we had the video and how brash he was and cold-hearted, really. And I suppose in that culture you gotta be tough, you gotta be strong, you gotta be whatever. But this is a juxtaposition. Let's see what happens in court.
In person.
See, the two lawyers he's got two lawyers, good lawyers, and they're complaining about the timing. They want to get the depositions done, but they need 5 months because they're so backed up. And the judge ain't having any of it.
Cases till Wednesday, July 28th for another status update on schedules and your trials and whether it's that idea. I want to go back here in 30 days for another status on scheduling. In the meantime, still you.
Judge.
Yes?
I know they're waiting for my client to be pulled up in the shoot. I have a 10 o'clock time certain with Judge Guy. Can I just log off and log back on, or I will lose him in the shoot if he's here?
Now, you take a look at that, and it's sad because he's all this and that and theatrical when he's in the video. He ain't doing that when he's in court, and thank God he's not doing that in court because he'd probably be tackled and put to the ground. But it's just kind of sad when you see young men who are clearly talented beefing and killing each other, and then they wind up before the court. And so on July 28th, they're going to go back there for a status conference, hopefully having done some depositions and getting all the discovery, and then they'll figure out a trial schedule. All the courts are really backed up because of COVID, and that's one of the things that his lawyers were talking about. But the judge says you got to be ready. You've got to be ready. You don't give the judge any ounce of grief about being ready. You got to be ready when the judge says you need to be ready, and otherwise your client suffers as a result. And especially when you're dealing with homicides, there's nothing more important on your calendar than a homicide. I've got about 4 or 5 going right now, and you really have to put those at the top priority. So, because the stakes are so high. So that was KSOO, and we'll see where we're going to follow his trial. We're going to follow Melly's trial. In fact, what I just said about KSOO, they've got a court date in July. They have just done a bunch of depositions in Melly's case too. So, we'll talk some more about Melly and the reason that I'm interested in these and why I even report on them is because they're interesting cases. Melly's case is super interesting because it is kind of a whodunit, and he does maybe have a shot at winning that case, and more like they might not be able to prove that he was the shooter. Even if they could prove somebody in the car was the shooter, but they don't know who it was, that might be enough on Melly's case. In this case, they might have some self-snitching that they're going to use. So this has been KSOO, Been Dead, and a little bit of just seeing what he looks like in court and how the court process works. So we'll be following this. We'll be following Melly and anything that else comes up, because this is just interesting stuff to follow from a criminal law standpoint, because I'm really anxious to see, and I'm sure you guys are too, how this all plays out. I don't take any joy in seeing anybody get a conviction. I don't care who you are. I mean, I just am not wired that way. I love it when somebody gets acquitted and gets a second chance at life and uses that to the better. Does that mean that I'm not sympathetic to victims of violent crime? No, of course I am. But my heart lies with criminal defense. And it's what I do. It's what I've been trained to do. It's where my DNA is programmed. So here's a couple things. We're going to also be starting to read some comments. So get those comments coming. We are going to have some merch. We are just this close to finalizing some hats, some dad hats, and some T-shirts. So those will be available probably in the next couple weeks. So look for them. If you're not following us on Instagram, why not? Follow us on Instagram. If you're watching this channel for the very first time, where the hell have you been? You need to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and follow us on Twitter. Patreon. We got a nice Patreon thing going, a little philanthropy going there. So if you have any suggestions on how we can improve our channel, we're all ears. If you want to tell me to shut the fuck up, maybe you should shut the fuck up. No, I'm kidding. But we're doing some good work, and we're getting a lot of. We're up to over 317,000 subscribers and going strong. Want everybody to know that I really, really appreciate your support, and keep the comments coming. I'll try to respond to as many as I possibly can, because we do read them and we do take your suggestions. And this was a highly suggested reaction. So thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.